Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Ace Attorney, Phoenix Wright, all that stuff. The secret extra bonus case that is on February 24th, 12:14 p.m. District Court, Courtroom number 9. Welcome back. Standard time.
The court will now remain for trial of Mr. Honor Scott.
Emma didn't come back. Allow me to call the next witness to the stand. Officer in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day of the crime. Witness, please state your name and occupation. Me, partner? Oh, I'm just a man, same as you, wandering trails of civilization. Occasionally helping the elderly cross intersections when needed.
Oh, thank you, you're a patrolman.
As for my name, if you listen hard enough, you can hear the hound and wind calling it out. To be exact, it's Jake Marshall, Your Honor. Howling wind? Never heard Edgeworth described that way before. Now, Mr. Marshall, let me ask you something. You're in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day the crime took place. Is this correct? Calling the papers, partner.
What do you mean?
A desperado soul is as bound as the desert sands. No paper can sum it up.
Maybe it's best we go real quickly. Please have your testimony of the day of the crime. In English.
Partner, I only speak American. The day of the crime. My job was to take a wary eye on that bone orchard. They said I was supposed to make bat rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style. Besides, the rooms were taped by 2 security systems anyway. If I remember right, I was at a street side saloon at the time it went down. I'm just an innocent traveling man. If you're out of ammo, it's time I hit the trail. Really?
I can't particularly say. I can't feel attitude.
I can't say I can't for your bid, but you don't see me complaining. Wait a minute. What do you mean by 2 security systems? I mean the security cameras and the ID card reader. I reckon even a cowpoke like you knows about them. Yeah, so what about the fingerprint-activated locks inside the evidence room? Fingerprint-activated locks? What kind of newfangled doohickeys are they? He's not being very helpful. He's not that good with machines, only with following orders. Everyone's got their weaknesses now, don't they, Mr. Prosecutor?
This one seems like trouble. Okay, Mr. Wright, it's all yours.
Might just get wary on the bone orchard. They said I was supposed to bake rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style. Besides, the room for two by 2 security systems anyway. If I remember right. Don't we have his fingerprints? We have this motherfucker's fingerprints. Yeah, we do.
Explain this, bitch!
Officer Marshall, doesn't it strike you as odd? That is, you being called in to testify like this? After all, you weren't in the security room at the time of the crime. And yet you dragged me down here. Explain yourself, partner. It's quite simple. You left a very large trail behind at the scene. Or to be exact, a handprint. Gotcha, bitch. Listen real good, partner. Like I said, I'm the caretaker of that crib. I pay my respects, that is, make my rounds, about once a month. It's only natural my fingerprints would be in there. I only wish it were, officer. But you see, your fingerprints were covered in blood. Oh shit, son.
Witness, what is the meaning of this? Raw blood-stained fingerprints around the crime room?
The blood was wiped away, however, a luminol test clearly revealed this. Well, Officer Marshall? Seems to me, there ain't a person in this room with a head on his shoulders. I take it you have an explanation then, Officer Marshall? About the blood-stained fingerprints?
Very well, we may begin to determine about your fingerprints. About to see the crime.
Like I said, it's only natural for my fingerprints to be in that room. One of them just happened to be the same place as the bloodstained handprint. The murderer touched my like where my fingerprint was by chance. Bloodstain and the fingerprint are completely unrelated. Or didn't you know the murderer was wearing gloves? See, I had nothing to do with it. Life wouldn't be filled with any doubt, partner. Well, may I? Dun 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 dun. Like I said, it's only natural for my fingers to be in the pressy press. That's because you, how do you put it? Pay your respects once a month? Yeah, that's right. That and one more thing. That locker happens to be mine.
More? What do you mean?
I mean what I said. That's the locker I used when I was a detective. The locker I still use. All that's in there now is a heap of broken dreams. I see. Wait, wasn't that Gumshoe's locker? He's saying that my prints weren't all over that locker. Apparently his fingerprint data was never changed. He must have been using the fingerprint lock without even knowing it. One of them just happened to be the same place as the bloodstained handprint. Murder touched the locker where my fingerprint was by chance. Bloodstain and the fingerprints are completely unrelated. Or didn't you know? How do you know that? How do you know that? I may be alone, but I still do my job. I keep up on the reports. There was a bloodstain at the crime scene, all to be left by the murderer. That's right. It was found in Detective Gumshoe's. Oh, that one's Detective Gumshoe's. Alright then. However, no fingerprints were detected on that handprint. Oh yeah, I think we tried that too.
That was me. The murderer wearing gloves happened to place his hand on top of Officer Marshall's fingerprint.
That's the only logical conclusion. Are you starting to get the picture, partner? This seal of blood in the desert is just food for the buzzards. There's only one reality, and that's this. Security tape. So long as my trail ain't in there, you can't say otherwise.
This isn't good anyway, Mr. Wright. Please go to the cabinet where you guys will cost revelation.
Yes, sir.
Now continue your segment, Officer Marshall.
Unless it was, and like you ducked underneath the camera or something. That camera doesn't go all the way down. What do you mean by that? You want to tie me to this crime, is that right, partner? If so, that video is the only direct evidence you have. That video is next to useless. It's full of blind spots.
Blind,
places you can't see. The camera's panning back and forth. The floor isn't shown. If someone was familiar with the camera's position, he could leave the room without being caught on tape. We don't have time for your speculations, Mr. Wright.
Well, Mr. Wright, maybe some evidence in the video indicates Officer Marshall was present. Please do so now.
Right, well, let me point out your mistake, Officer Marshall. Tread carefully, Mr. Wright, or you might wind up being the one making the mistake.
Now, let's have another look at that video. Shows in this incriminating evidence, all the witness, Officer Jake Marshall.
Okay, so his locker is that one. Wait, I wasn't there before. Being our attention back to the security camera is a mistake. I'm afraid you'll not soon forget. You'll soon forget. No, you'll not soon forget, Officer Marshall. Goddamn Japanese localization. The days are short in Texas, so are our tempers. Could you sum up what you have to say in 8 words or less? Very well. You can clearly be seen in the video. How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, exactly 8. Well done, you clever bastard. Exactly 8 words. Not bad, partner. The key lies in a certain locker shown in the video. See, this locker has a white cloth sticking out. This is the witness's locker. Now then, let's rewind the video a bit. It's not there.
Oh, the white cloth is gone. What's the meaning of this, Officer Marshall?
When the crime took place, the white cloth wasn't there. Then it suddenly appeared. There's only one explanation. Officer Marshall, you were in the evidence room at the time of the crime. What's more, you opened your locker when the camera was turned away.
Hold
your horses. Sorry, partner, but you got the wrong man. So what if my locker was open? That doesn't mean I'm the one who opened it. The murderer needed to hide something, so he opened the locker and stuck it in. It's not my fault he happened to choose mine. Unless he has your fingerprints, bro, he's not getting in there. Why is everyone staring at me like that? Like I'm a wanted man. This guy isn't just playing dumb. He's an absolute idiot. I hate to rain on your parade, but you're the only person who can open that particular locker. Oh yeah? I'll call you bluff. You say open that locker? Now prove it. Fingerprint lock, bro. Fingerprint sensor? We talked about this earlier today. The lockers can only be opened by the detectives they belong to. What kind of crazy talk is that? Well, Detective Gumshoe did mention something about this. In any case, the locks aren't that obvious. There's even some people in the force that don't know about the fingerprint locks. So, Sheriff, what do you have to say in 8 words or less? Is he just biting a piece of jerky? What even? Where did he even get that from?
Order. Witness.
This is a joke. It's the worst I've ever heard. I assure you this is no joke, Officer Marshall. Now then, please tell us what you were doing in the evidence room at the time of the crime.
Olay! Please answer the question.
What is he now, a bullfighter? That's alright, Officer Marshall. I believe we can figure the rest out from here.
We can?
Have a look at these floor plans. There's no place for someone to hide in the evidence room. Yet, Officer Blimey Chips didn't see Officer Marshall.
If that's true, then I was in there.
Seems Mr. Wright has an answer. That's right, there's only possible conclusion.
Well then, mister.
Where was Officer Marshall at the time of the crime? He had to have been the killer, right? Oh wait, no, because Meekins was quote-unquote the killer. Officer Marshall was standing right here.
There, but that was the victim, Detective Goodman was.
Correct, unless the man wasn't Detective Goodman. I believe the victim in the video is Officer Marshall. It was you dressed up like Detective Goodman. Well, that's preposterous. Officer Blimey Chips witnessed the office detective at the crime scene. Once he saw the man's face, he'd know for sure. May I point out, though, that Officer Blimey Chips did not know Detective Goodman. He also testified about the man's reaction when confronted. When I entered the evidence room, I asked him to show his card sheet. Yes, and how did Detective Goodman respond? He's only pulled a knife on me, sir. Something about the officer's story puzzled me. If the man had his ID card, why didn't he just show it?
Now, he would have needed it to enter the evidence room, so he must have been carrying it.
The answer is simple. He couldn't show it. As you can see, Detective Goodman's picture is on his ID card.
Oh, I get it.
If he showed that, his cover would have been blown. Officer Blimey Chips would have realized the man wasn't Detective Goodman. Do you have anything to say about this, Officer Marshall? You got quite an imagination, partner. We got a term for that. It's called circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial evidence? What? You're gonna have to do better than that to break a detective. Unless you got hard evidence proving I dressed up as a victim.
I can't say I particularly care for your uncooperative disposition.
I can't say I care for your bib, you don't see me complaining.
Well, Mr. Wright, do you have any evidence proven beyond a shadow of a doubt, that Officer Marshall dressed up as a victim?
Well, who am I kidding? I don't have anything like that. I can see the fear in your eyes, partner. Seems you're the one who couldn't take the desert heat. This can't be happening! Oh no! So obviously he's the one. What can I do? My match works. It looks like your lack of experience has finally been exposed. I'll pass on to you what someone told me when I was just starting out. When you've run into a wall with no place to go, return to the basics. Basics? I'm Edgeworth and I'm a bro. Nick, try thinking outside the box. I shouldn't look for proof that Officer Marshall was in disguise. But rather, I should look for evidence that came about because he was in disguise. Why do you think this locker was opened in the first place?
What do you mean?
There's no reason for Officer Marshall to open his locker at the time of the crime. Yet he did, despite the chance he might be discovered later as it has been. Which means he didn't originally plan to open his locker.
According to the Vexed document, Officer Jake Marshall dressed up as Detective Goodman at the time of the crime, and after the crime was committed, he opened his own locker for some unknown reason.
The fact that a white cloth is sticking out of his locker seems to indicate that he opened it in order to put the cloth inside.
So, therefore exactly is it being cloth.
Perhaps the video is the key to all our unanswered questions. I don't have any evidence, so this video is my only shot. Oh shit! He was covered in blood, wasn't he? He was covered in blood, so if he left and he was covered in Blimey Chips' blood, then he'd have to hide it. He'd have to hide it because he'd look very, very suspicious. Okay, go forward, fast forward. Fast forward, fast forward. There we go. Ah! Back, back, back. There we go. For some reason, you disguise yourself as Detective Goodman and enter the evidence room. I don't know what that reason was. Yet. However, something unexpected happened. Officer Meekins barged in on you. When asked to show your ID card, you pulled a knife on him. However, Officer Meekins panicked, and the white coat you were wearing was soiled with blood.
A bloody white coat.
You couldn't just walk out like that, so you hid the coat in your locker. Not bad, huh, partner? Gotcha, bitch. Gotcha! Home on the range, motherfucker.
Now, Officer Marshall, are you ready to tell us the truth?
Looks like I underestimated y'all. I hope you're happy now, Mr. Edgeworth. I'm never happy. 2 years ago, you were only half as persistent as you are today. We all wouldn't have had to be here now, would we?
Officer Marshall, tell the court what you did. All of it.
Alright. Seems the time has come.
Marshall's confession.
I had to do it that day. I couldn't just stand by and let it die. I stole the detective's ID card and dressed like him. I planned to take out the evidence. I wasn't expecting Officer Meekins. I knocked him out. I managed to escape. I knew which areas wouldn't be caught on camera. There wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15.
So the supposed victim was really you.
But there's one thing I still don't understand. Large quantities of blood traces were found on the floor of the evidence room. If no one was murdered, then how could that be? Officer Blymenchips managed to cut his own hand. My guess is he's the donor. It looked like too much blood for that.
Dun 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 dun. Marshall's confession.
I just have to press him then. I don't know what the banging ain't got shit. When you say it, you mean? Do you even have to ask, partner? The SL9 incident. 2 years have passed as that case was closed. It's going to be completely ended with the transferal that day. Not if I have anything to do with it. That incident's not over. But what did you hope to accomplish by sneaking into the evidence room? When a case is closed, only the detective who was in charge of it can look through the evidence. I wanted to have a look at it myself one more time. No matter what the cost. I don't care what anyone says, partner. That case is mine. Officer Marshall wasn't in charge of that investigation. Why does he care so much about it? That day was my last chance. That's why I stole the detective's ID and dressed like him. I planned to take out the evidence. Why did you disguise yourself as Detective Goodman? If I didn't make it look like Goodman was carrying out the evidence transfer, I'd be arrested for stealing evidence, which wouldn't get me anyway. Then so you did it to fool the security camera.
And the detective's ID card.
I stole that the morning of the incident. So that really was why Goodman started filling out that lost item report. I returned his ID card. I left it on the floor in the prosecutor's office parking lot. The ID card I found was left by Officer Marshall. So essentially, you managed to succeed despite your lack of foresight. What do you mean, partner? I'll end y'all. I mean, the fingerprint activated lock, of course. No matter how well you disguise yourself, you can't change your fingerprints. Knowing that locker shouldn't have opened. They're open because a rubber glove was stuck in the door by chance? Then, Detective Goodman must have opened the locker before Officer Marshall. I wasn't expecting Officer Blymenchips. I knocked him out. He pulled a knife on Officer Meekins and tried to drive him off. Let's just say I was a little surprised. I only planned on being in the evidence room for no more than 5 minutes. I didn't think anyone would actually come in during that short time.
Officer Blymenchips certainly is a 1 in a million type of person. But take it as a detective and intruder and demand to be shown his ID.
I'll have to think about a little more about his raise this year. When did Edgeworth get so much influence? Anyway, he threw himself at me and I ended up cutting him slack. I'm sorry I had to be turned out that way. With me knocking him out and everything. By the way, what happened to your knife? Oh, you mean this one? I don't know what to say.
So what happened there?
He's using a knife he used to stab Meekins to shave his beard. Really? So you did your research beforehand. Those who go into the desert unprepared don't live long, partner. I didn't think it would make a difference, though. The security tape is erased every 6 hours. If all had gone as planned, no footage would have been left. However, you bloodied your coat in your struggle with Officer Meekins. If no one was in the security room when I came out, the jig would have been up. I opened my locker and stashed it in there. What was Officer Blymenchips doing during this time? What else? He was sleeping like a baby.
You're ending on that there.
There wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15. but the blood found on the scene certainly indicates a crime took place. What, are you blind? The victim shown on that tape is me, and I'm not dead yet, partner.
So you stole the evidence from the locker?
Actually, no, I didn't.
Why not?
When I opened the locker, the evidence was already gone.
What? Mr. Ever, where's that ever?
It's still missing, Your Honor. Curiouser and curiouser. Goodman probably stole it. Officer Marshall, may I ask you one more thing? Fire away, partner. It's a free country. Just remember, I'm also free to decide whether or not to answer. Why did you do this? Stealing a detective's ID, injuring a police officer. This is no small offense.
Moreover, you're an officer yourself. This will have serious consequences. It can't just be forgiven with a simple cut in salary.
Not that salary because even ever a valid solution. Like I said, this isn't your case. This one is mine. And I'll do anything it takes to get an answer I'm satisfied with.
The witness has an unusual amount of skill. Let's hear more.
I can't just forget the SL9 incident. You know why? Why? That case was solved 2 years ago, wasn't it?
After visiting the evidence restored in the evidence room.
Joe Dark was convicted of those crimes. One thing I can say for sure, he deserved his sentence.
I remember the Joe Dark case. Involved serial murder, didn't there?
I don't intend to complain about how it turned out, but there's something that still bothers me. Something went down to that trial. Something no one will talk about.
Whatever.
I don't know. That's what I'm trying to find out. Why is he so concerned with that incident? Maybe I should present him with what I think his real reason is. I had a feeling we'd wind up here sooner or later. Everyone involved here is related in some way to that case. I'd better take another look at the files. I guess I have to look at the file. Oh, balls. Back. Oh, there's no court record. Whoops, I'm an idiot. Goodman autopsy report, victims no, relying on cell phone. Where's the thing? There it is. Criminal, Joe Dark. Crime, serial murder, sentence, death. Victims, Edward Jones, Jason Knight, Neil Marshall. Lana Sky and Emma Sky were witnesses. Well. Officer Marshall, I think I understand. I think I know why you care so much about the SL9 incident. Sounds like you've been sipping too much cactus juice, partner. I have the SL9 incident file here. The name Marshall is mentioned in here. In a list of murder victims. Neil Marshall. Are you related to this man?
Neil Marshall?
Yeah, I'm sure you've heard the name. 2 years ago. He received the same lousy prosecutor award you got.
What? A prosecutor?
He must be talking about the King of Prosecutors award.
Now I remember. Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He handled the SL9 case before I did.
That's right. He was killed. And the case fell into your hands.
But what is related to you?
He was my brother. Holy shit, he took the hat off. That's a new one. He was investigating the murders with Dame McGann, chief detective at the time. The group of detectives I was part of worked under them. We were desperate to prosecute the killer. Joe Dark. My brother fought Dark when he was killed. That was the first time Dark left behind any evidence. It was all we needed. He was arraigned and incarcerated. The case was finally closed. At least, according to the public records.
What do you mean?
My brother couldn't have been killed by Joe Dock. I know my brother better than anyone. No one could have beaten him in a fight.
And that's it? That's your reason for your insane actions?
There's more to my brother's death than what records say. No matter how much you try to hide it, you can't fool me.
Well, I just wondered for certain. Now we know what happened to the police department on the day of the crime.
That was the last day the SL9 case could be reopened. No satisfied with his resolution, Officer Marshall planned to steal the evidence.
Disguising himself as Detective Goodman, he entered the evidence room. Officer Blimey Chips confronted him and rendered him unconscious and fled.
Yes, this mystery has finally been cleared up. No murder took place at the police department that day. The things that happen by chance never cease to amaze. At exactly the same time as the murder at the prosecutor's office, this fake murder was going on at the police department.
Chance? It's gonna be more than just that.
There's no murder police department on the day of the crime. That means the murder in the prosecutor's office parking lot was the real one.
Which in turn means the only one person could have committed the crime. Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye.
But wait! A verdict wasn't reached in yesterday's trial.
Which is why we examined the incident in the police department today. But there's only one reason the defendant was not convicted yesterday. There yet remained the mystery of the simultaneous murder at the police department.
Seems to me, the boys got the draw on you, partner.
All the mysteries of the police department have been uncovered. No contradictions remain. The murder took place at the prosecutor's office. The only suspect is Lana Skye. There were no errors in the testimony of the witness, Angel Starr. If you have a response, make it one word or less.
Ah!
I rest my case, Your Honor. Look at my floofy neck. It's so floofy, oh my god.
I think the trial reaches a conclusion. There's no room for doubt.
Well done, Mr. Wright. Thanks to you, I didn't need to waste my time disproving the alleged murder at the police department.
There's no doubt what I proved today is true. The apparent murder on the security camera's tape really was fake. But I didn't realize that would end up proving Lana guilty.
Now then, the time for a verdict has arrived. The court finds the defendant.
Hold it! Your Honor, wait. Emma, the defense is an objection. A scientific objection. Right? What do you mean, right?
Mr. Wright, are you this girl's guardian?
Your Honor? Oh, in a sense.
Please, Your Honor, all I'm asking is a minute of your time. Please hear me out. Mr. Edgeworth, please.
I don't want to leave any loose ends. You want a minute? I'll give you 3.
I was kind of in shock. I mean, finding out the SL9 incident referred to the Joe Dock killings. Now that she mentions it, the names of both Skye sisters are in that file.
But that's when I figured it out. I mean, what Officer Marshall was trying to do that day. So I knew that his fingerprint had nothing to do with the crime. That left only one thing. The other handprint.
You mean the traces of blood found in Detective Gumshoe's locker?
But no fingerprints were found on it, right?
No, but I figured if I examined it scientifically, I'd be sure to find a clue. So I ran over there and looked at it again. So did you find something? No. Huh? Sorry, I guess I'm not much of a scientific investigator after all. Really? You're gonna waste our time with this shit? Yeah, is that all? Please don't be mad, I'm just a high school student. And I'm just an attorney. But Mr. Wright, those traces of blood are the only clue we have. We can't find something wrong with them. Please, Mr. Wright. You're a professional. If anyone can save Lana from the danger zone, it's you! Me? Oh boy. Oh god.
With regard to your piece of there's any reasonable doubt remain.
It appears the defense is troubled by the other blood mark. Looking at the floor plans, a handprint was discovered around here. Is there a problem with this?
Mr. Wright, I'm sorry I can't be of more use. But still, wait a second. Wait a goddamn whoremongering second. Let me look at this shit. The badger was in the way! The badger was in the way. It couldn't have been there. The badger was in front of that locker. You can't find anything wrong with that blood mark. Lana will be.
Please answer my question, Mr. Wright. I don't have all day.
Yes, Your Honor. If ever I've needed to concentrate, it's now. What could be wrong with that handprint on Detective Gumshoe's locker? Could there be something I'm missing? I object! This handprint left at the crime scene clearly shows a contradiction.
The only thing that seems clear is your grasping, Mr. Wright.
Remember saying pretty intently as I was still proud. Number, is there a problem with them?
Yes, this is strange. Take a good look at these floor plans. Something is missing.
Missing? You mean something hasn't been drawn on there?
Yes, something that, when drawn, will completely change the meaning of the blood mark.
Let us pray the victim is simply trying to buy time. Well, Mr. Wright.
There's all this evidence here. There's got to be something I can use.
Question is, which item could prove something is missing in the floor plan?
What about that piece of plywood? The Blue Badger, mascot of the police force, defender of truth, guardian of proof.
Explain yourself, Mr. Wright.
Please look at the floor plans of this crime scene. The Blue Badger is not here. So watch what happens when we put him in. This is where he was dancing at the time of the crime. Boop. Well,
what?
ah! That's right. So long as the Blue Badger is dancing here, it'd be impossible to place a handprint at this spot on the locker. What? Nanny? Partner?
So that means, Zeddy, what does that mean?
That means it can't be done.
What do you say? They haven't found a locker.
Don't look at me, I didn't put it there. Mr. Wright, think it through scientifically. Emma, on that afternoon, Officer Blimey Chips was the one who brought the Blue Badger to the evidence room, correct? After he put it down, it'd be impossible to leave a handprint on that locker. That must mean this blood mark was left there before the Blue Badger was brought in?
Just one moment. I will not laugh off that cloud as a mark out.
It may sound far-fetched, Your Honor, but it's the only possible explanation. On February 21st, in the police department's evidence room, blood was spilled not once but twice. But how? Nanny. I'm trying to think what Edgeworth's accent would be. Like, how would he pronounce that A in Nanny? Nanny? Officer Blimey Chips cut his hand, from which a trivial amount of blood fell. One problem is, the other time. Someone bled prior to the struggle shown on this tape. It had to have been Detective Goodman when he was really murdered. Dun 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 dun. This is still my ringtone, and I looked at my phone as I thought it was ringing. Yes, it was not. It's the game.
That's ridiculous. I refute you.
The murder portrayed in the security tape has been proven to be a fake. However, that does not explain the blood mark found on the locker. So then, assuming this murder you purport really happened, when did it take place? I demand you show evidence proves it occurred. When did the first incident occur?
It's my defense claim there. I got to my here, bring a couple of date marshals, disguised as detectives, Goodman. Another incident took place in that evidence room.
The blood mark on the locker proves this.
Now, well, then tell us. When did this first incident occur? Proof must be presented.
Proof that shows when the murder took place.
Now, remove the defense please present evidence. What shows when the first crime took place?
Check. Whoever this 777 is. Because this is edgy. This is edgy. This is Meekins dropping off the Badger. And this is Marshall, and then it's Meekins again. So it's got to be this, because that's 7777. If the crime took place inside the evidence room, then the perpetrator would have had to have entered the room. In order to do so, an ID card is required.
An ID card? Oh! The ID card record!
Officer Blimey brought in the Blue Badger panel to the evidence room at, let's see here,
4:50 p.m. If the crime took place before that time, it would be 4:40 p.m. Ah! Ah! My river! That's what I've done!
I never figured you had nerve, boy.
Put off the act, witness. It doesn't take a lot of thought to figure out it couldn't have been me.
Nah, I ain't getting it.
I don't understand either.
It's clear from the luminol test the blood was there. However, when the second crime took place, both Officer Blimey Chips and Officer Marshall failed to notice the blood.
That means the blood from the first crime was wiped away by the real murderer.
I would have had just 10 minutes to murder the victim, carry his body away, and clean up the blood. Unfortunately, that's physically impossible.
Now remove. A crime must have taken place before Miss Edgeworth entered the evidence room.
Let's look at the chart again. There's only one other card number remaining. 777777. Talk about a lucky number.
Wait, I remember. How would Officer Goodman have entered the evidence room?
Since there's no record of his card being used beforehand, he must have entered along with the real murderer. That's the only plausible explanation. He went in with 777777.
Mr. Edgeworth, please look in this essay. I know whose ID number card is 77777777.
That's 17 too many, Your Honor. Unfortunately, I'm unable to look up the owner of that ID card. At least at present.
What?
Explain yourself, son.
The ID card number 777777 belongs to someone with the rank of captain or higher. Someone who is a so-called executive officer. We don't have the authority to acquire such a person's identity.
But that's ridiculous. Just how...
I'm not finished talking, Mr. Wright. There is one situation which we can be granted such authority.
The official charge filed against this said division sector.
An official charge? You're all alike, ain't you? With your cover-ups and your forgeries. That's how the prosecutor's office operates.
I take pride in my work, Officer Marshall. I would appreciate it if you kept your slander to yourself.
Slander, is it? Okay. Let me ask a question.
Yeah?
No, not to you. To her, the defendant sitting over there. Your own little executive. Lana? Oh gosh, the danger zone.
Don't be so stupid. She's been charged with a murder. Of course, we've looked up her ID number, and it's not 77777777.
Don't play me for a fool, partner. That's not what I want to ask. All I want to know is one thing. About that incident.
You don't know this, sir.
Answer me this, Chief Prosecutor. In that trial 2 years ago, did you really only use legitimate evidence?
Do you need the witness to repeat his question, Chief Prosecutor? I heard him fine, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, I was in charge of the prosecution for the trial. At the time, occasionally, we felt the powerlessness of the law. At least, I did.
Lana! Danger zone.
I became a prosecutor in order to suppress crime with the law. Before I realized it, we were the ones being suppressed by the law.
Defendant, here's what you said.
I'll ask again, Chief Prosecutor. During that trial 2 years ago, did you really present all the evidence in court? Can you look me, an investigator in that crime, in the eye and say that you did?
Chief Prosecutor, you did it.
I don't have to, Officer Marshal. Why don't you answer him? Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to, in order for him to get the verdict he deserved.
But Lana! Danger zone!
Even if it involved forging evidence.
Dun 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 dun. See? That's what I'm talking about. No. No!
Order!
Non's remarks caused such a stir. The chaos in the courtroom could not be quelled. The conclusion of the trial would have to wait until the following day. To be continued. Dun 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 dun, holy Christ. Oh, lordy lord!
Who done it?
This is day 3. This is gonna be the final day. Oh, Jesus Christ. We're gonna have to find out who did it next time, or it's guilty by default. Shit.